Hello. So good evening, good to be here, and thanks for the invite. My name is Nate, and I think I had a similar career path compared to Jackie. I studied in the insurance in the actuarial space, and I think at that time it's a lot of data engineering, data science, and machine learning engineering involved. So that's basically my skill set. Then I moved on to the Deloitte in their consulting space and in their data and AI practice. So we had a series of wonderful jobs at Deloitte, and what I'm trying to say is, so I guess from my perspective, it's really trying to share some of my personal experience. I'm not gonna speak for any of my employer, and I think when Jackie asked about, say, if anyone knows about an AI agent or this, it seems like not a lot of them would actually know. And also I can share some of my experience with, say, for example, how the big enterprise is thinking about the AI and what would be their the AI strategy, etc. In the coming years, etc. So I can share some of that. That's why I'm going to talk about something of the digital twin. Then I'll talk about how we as employee or the individual could actually leverage the AI agent and also the workflow. So how we can actually improve or help improve our efficiency. And last one is actually from the Google Cloud. They actually published this the data AI trend 2024. I hope that will just give some insights about what's going to happen or what they think the trend will be in the data and AI world. Cool. Just a little bit about some of the the concept. So when we talk about AI, there are even sub-streams about AI. So narrow AI is actually good at doing one specific job, and general AI, like AGI, we talk about, is actually quite smart. Say for example, the GPT-4 or GPT-3, they're actually quite smart. So that's why they're actually attract a lot of attentions after they released or launched last year. And also the other one is actually Gen AI. Gen AI is generative, you generate things. But when you generate, it can be numbers, it can be probability, it can be text image. So we know some of the language model, they can generate some of the large language model can generate text and images. It looks pretty cool. But generating numbers, that's actually exists in the industry for more than 20, 30 years now. And some of the industries I know is actually quite advanced without tools. Say for example, the customer churn, fraud detection, etc., etc. They are already there. I'll quickly just skip through some of learning method. If you're familiar with machine learning, supervised learning, with data already, has some answers on supervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. I think these tools are actually heavily used in developing your large language models for these days. Cool. Just a bit of AI concepts. So when we talk about AI, it's actually a very big and broad idea and concept. And within that AI concept, it's actually maybe 90 or over 95% they rely on data. So, and even within data, there are actually many substreams. For example, data engineering, data science, machine learning, and using those tools or some techniques, we can generate numbers. Natural language processing, computer vision, and also on top of that, you've got some other streams like robotics. They're actually leveraging all sorts of different tools. So just trying to touch on some of the AI concepts. Next one, digital twin. So I've just tried to quote you can search, Google it. It's Adrian and Fei Li, they're sort of going to a consensus. It's AI in the future is definitely going to be a fundamental infrastructure for any companies in the future. And for any sort of companies, before you can really initiate your AI agent or any of your AI capability, what you should think about, or enterprise or company should think about, is actually this digital twin concept. So digital twin is actually not a new concept. It's been in the market for maybe 10 years. But what it means is actually for a company, you need to build two systems. One is actually the virtual models. The other one is actually your physical objects. So say for example, if you're like the Woolworths or Coles or factory or supply chain, you have your physical like objects, your like the items, the goods, the like groceries, etc. And in the meantime, it is actually quite critical to actually build your like the virtual model. So it is actually a replication of your physical world. And then during the process, you can actually set up the process to collect the data. So for example, even with like AI agent we talk about, then you still need the process where you have to know what exactly will be the information or the input you're sending to the AI agent. What exactly will be the output? What kind of like the action? This needs to be captured. And so that's actually, the data collection is actually very important. Lastly, once you got the data, you need to analyze it and optimize and you can actually optimize it based on that. I'm just trying to give an example of like what will be the real world problem we can solve. How many got stuck or get delayed by the Sydney train? Or have you ever experienced any like stops with the Sydney train? I think almost everyone have, yeah? Then if you have this kind of like, imagine you have or get stuck at the airport. So with those digital twin, you can actually replicate the physical world just in case if someone, say for example, some train line breaks down. Then if you have this kind of like digital world, you can be able to understand what's really going to be the impact, what will be the solutions, and which solution will be optimal. Is it going to be better to shift, sort of like get another train to operate, or is it going to be better to actually organize a few buses at the train stop to get people going, or is it better to use the other train line to actually replace and take those travelers? So these are actually this is actually going to be like some of the first step before they can actually do the AI agent. Once they actually, so that's why I'm saying that the digital twin probably will be the first step. It is actually already used in some of the industries, in manufacturing. Some examples will be they have like sensors, IoT, like Internet of Things. They can actually sense if the goods on the shelf is actually being like purchased, being like the stock is actually short. Then they can actually automatically reload it. I mean, trying to send the information back to the warehouse, and the warehouse will try to know, okay, which is actually the nearest warehouse that have the stock, and what will be the cheapest way to actually transport that back to the store, something like that. So, yeah, so that's the some of the applications. And also in the future, like say when a corporate trying to sort of like embracing their AI capacity. Another concept is actually called the metaverse. It is actually a metaverse for the company to operate, but also for the employee to interact and to sort of like interact with the AI agents, etc. Then that becomes a triangle. So a company needs to improve their data before they can do their modelings. Before they can do their like AI models, implement their AI agents, etc. But once you implement maybe 100 AI agents, computing becomes a limitation as well. Imagine like how much the computing power will need. Then those will be like the triangle will really limit how a company would actually gain their competitive advantage in the market. Cool. AI agents. So that's another sort of like the area I'm trying to say what this will be like will be helpful for individuals. We can actually, so when you talk about like an AI agent, it's really not about like the Javas from the Tony Stark, from the Iron Man movie. And currently, it just can only do a few small jobs as a starting point. It is actually basically a smart helper. It's actually looking at those tasks. It actually help you to automate some of the tasks, make those things like easier. So it's actually good at doing a specific job. And what it doesn't do well is actually coming up with big ideas. So it will make your life easier, but still it will be like the ideas will matter, like Jackie mentioned. This is another one. It's actually an AI workflow. I'm actually asking a question. When you're trying to do like I assume everyone used ChatGPT before. Yeah. So when you ask a ChatGPT, what would be like your pattern? Is it gonna like, can you give me an image, or can you just like in one sentence or a few sentences, and you're expecting that will give you like that ChatGPT will return some of like the good answer with a good quality? Has everyone used ChatGPT like that, or cool? Yeah, and this is something that I'm trying to introduce. It's actually a workflow. Think about this as your minion, as your like a junior workers in your team. What you need to do is actually to train the ChatGPT, even though it's very small, but you still need to train it. So for example, if you're trying to, if you want the ChatGPT to write you a paper, so you'll tell that to write an outline first. And then the second step is actually instruct the AI to do some like online research. And then the third step is that having the AI to actually write the first draft. Then eventually you're doing this like in a stepwise, not just like using one sentence to let it generate the results you want. So it's a whole kind of like a mindset different. You can try this. I've actually done this myself this afternoon. I was just writing some things for myself, and basically what I did is actually I give him some statement. This is the scenario. Acknowledge it. And ChatGPT will just acknowledge it. This is scenario. Then the following step is actually say, okay, based on this information, how could you actually generate the answers based on the following questions, the actions, etc. So give them some kind of like a scenario. It will probably help you generate better results. This is an example from the engineering team. So they actually conduct experiment with some examples. So we know ChatGPT, like GPT-4 is superior than GPT 3.5, but with the agent workflow, you can really improve the accuracy. So you can sometimes reach accuracy higher using GPT 3.5 compared to like GPT-4. So it's just a way to show that AI, like the agent workflow, is probably something we can directly pick it up and to use that in our daily work. Cool, last one. So this is actually it's from Google Cloud. So they listed the top 5 trends at the moment for this year in the data and AI world. The first one is actually the Gen AI will speed up the delivery of insights. If you're familiar with some of the data platform, say Databricks, Snowflake, even Excel, they can actually they start to incorporate those kind of like the GPT or Copilot, so they can actually start to generate the insights for you. And I know some of the companies, they're also doing, implement their GPT in their database. So you can actually chat with the database. So then the database will try to generate some insights based on that. Sometimes you can actually use... Oops. Yeah, but anyway, I'll move on. And you can have a look which areas. So you can see. I have no idea. You can see which area currently the AI is actually going to help delivery some of the insights. I think the first one is actually can't see from here, but I guess the first one I remember is actually marketing. You can actually start to use like AI for marketing insights. The next trend is actually the roles will getting a bit blurred. we all know some kind of like categories in the data, like professionals like data engineering, data analytics, data science, machine learning engineer. So that sort of like the silos are going to will become like more like a blur. What that means is like if you're a data analyst, you may be asked to do any like a data scientist work, and if you're a data scientist, you probably will need to think about what would be your deployment rate for all the models you build. You can't just do like experimentation. You have to deploy the models, deploy the say for example like the AI. You can need to deploy them as agents, etc. So that's a deployment. So there will be another new sort of like a professionals will emerge. It's actually AI engineer. So AI engineer will become. You'll probably see more jobs, more roles like AI engineers being advertised in the future. Yeah, that's a typical question for the enterprise or a business. Governance is actually really a big thing. So the reason why I talk about digital twin, etc., any companies really need to think about, like, for example, their data governance, privacy, security, etc. And you need to really improve your data infrastructure, for example, to allow for maybe vector DB, vector database, etc. Otherwise, it's actually going to be a bottleneck for any future development. Yeah, so once the database is actually integrated, that's when you can actually really unlock the potentials with Gen AI. So I guess that will be the trend for the companies to think about in this space. Modernization is another way, sort of like the companies or big enterprises actually doing at the moment. They're really trying to say, for example, there are some legacy database, legacy issues, etc. They need to think about like what would be the modern platforms. There are new. I think I saw something like maybe 20 years ago, there were only maybe 10 or 20 companies competing in this world, in this sort of like space. But this is like thousands of companies or great companies competing in the whole data and AI space. So modernization is also quite key. For us, if you're trying to get ahead of this, it's like trying to understand what will be the top, like maybe data platform or AI platform, so you can start to learn, or maybe some of the traditional, like in the cloud space, to learn some of the cloud. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, definitely. Top changes to the legacy databases. Cool. That's all for me. 30 minutes left. Thank you, ladies.